What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, January 4th, 2017. This is Reddit Tokyo. I'm Jonathan. I'm here. Nick's here. And I know I promised that we would come up with a different intro thing. But why mess with success? And for some reason, I have a Cheeto sitting on my knee. I guess it's from lunch. Nick, what are you up to today?
I'm sick, so that's not fun. And I'm wondering why there's a Cheeto on your knee.
I guess I just dropped it when I was eating some a little while ago and noticed it. But I just looked down and there's a little bright orange Cheeto right there. It was like bonus day.
Is it like a gift or a curse? I
It's
want
a
to
gift.
draw,
It's a gift from the gods.
but didn't you say I was Odin? Yeah.
Yes, I am now Odin.
No, you said I was Odin.
No,
You specifically said that.
I said your mom is Odin.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but
Anyway, welcome to
you said
episode 88.
I like
88. Blame Canada. I think that's what we're going to go with today. What is that? Does that sound good to you, Nick? Blame Canada?
um I don't know. I like Canada.
I normally like Canada, but I encountered a problem the other day, but I think maybe okay. Do you want to wait for the problem, or do you want to go ahead and get it out of the way right now? Because it's kind of a big problem for me.
I'll leave it up to you.
You know what?
I said I'll leave it up to you.
Well, I kind of want to talk about what's going on with Blizzard games right now. Like just give everyone who does not want to hear me bitch about something a few minutes of joy. Unless you're one of the people that really likes hearing me say angry things, in which case you're going to enjoy what I have to say at the very end of all this.
Choices.
Yes, choices, choices, choices. How about the fact that it is the Diablo 20th anniversary? Now, of course, Diablo released actually back in December. Uh, I'm not going to do the math. 20 years ago, you can do it yourself. But Blizzard did not implement this then. I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't. And we were actually talking about this last night when we were raiding. But evidently, what happens is in every Blizzard game, and by that I mean StarCraft, you get a hero portrait. In Heroes of the Storm, you get some kind of portrait. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's something like that. In Overwatch, I believe it is a specific battleground map or something. In Hearthstone, you get a card back, and there is a well, it might be like the monthly thing. I'm not sure, but there's also a tavern brawl. Uh, in World of Warcraft, treasure goblins will spawn. Now, I have seen one in the Dalaran sewers, and I didn't get any loot from it. I don't know if it was just me having just seen the dead one. I don't know, but when I joined, there were people looting it, so it could have been the issue with that. But it does spawn a portal to the secret cow level, and according to Bellular, you know the guy on YouTube, Nick, you know who Bellular is, right?
Yeah.
According to Bellular, the treasure goblin can actually spawn in any difficulty Legion dungeon, and I'm assuming it's only the last boss. I'm assuming this. I don't know. I really don't. But apparently it spawns, and you have a limited amount of time to kill it. Just like you do in Diablo, because they go away. They go away. And of course, during the Legion spawn event, I'm sorry, the launch event, there were treasure goblins that spawn during invasions. You know, and that was kind of a fun little thing. And of course, we discussed before how Legion is very, very, very reminiscent of Diablo in a lot of ways. Um, but it's nice that Blizzard is actually putting this directly in the game. So what happens whenever you kill the goblin is he spawns a port of the cow level. You take it, like your whole group can take it, and evidently, depending on what server the party leader is on or something, it will alter the version of the cow level you get. And if you're on a PvP realm, your cow level will be PvP. And if anyone else is there, they can kill you. And the problem with the cow level is if you die, you get kicked out and you cannot return. So, like, you can't just run back over there, you know. So if you're in a PvP realm and someone murders you, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. But what happens in there now? This is not something I've seen personally because I didn't get to go to a fun cow level. I went to a murder cow level. And I was killed as soon as I spawned. But what happens is there's these diabolic cows, like diabolic cows. They're apparently very pissed off at you for being in their home, and you kill the cows. And for some reason, there's also Tauren. I don't know why, but there's Tauren, and everyone can kill them, whether they're Horde or Alliance. So you kill the cows, and eventually the Cow King will spawn, and of course he has like a 2 or 3 minute spawn rate to begin with. So you kill him, and just like the holiday bosses, you can loot him once. But the only item that no one has seen drop uh, repeatedly, at least for everybody that's killed it, is the bag. It's like a 28 slot bag, I think, something like that. But that apparently can only be once a day, and apparently you can only loot the Cow King once a day. So, yeah, it seems fun to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the loot's like really, but it's a nice little thing to do for Diablo.
I was actually kind of expecting Blizzard to do more for this. I really was. Um, because, for example, with the World of Warcraft anniversary thing, the last one they did, we had a whole raid. In fact, we were talking about this the other day in guild chat, because I came up with the idea. Maybe okay. For those of you who don't know, I'm a guild leader. Yay! Next one of my officers. Um, and we have on Saturdays we're supposed to have like a classic raid night, so we go run some older content stuff. And I thought it might be fun sometime um, to get the guild members to level a character. Like, say we want to do Naxxramas, like level 80 Naxxramas, Nick, and we get a character to 80, and then we run it as a guild at level with like appropriate gear or BOA or whatever, and eventually knock out all the content at that level gap, which I thought would be fun, don't you think?
Maybe. Could be interesting. I, I'm still not sure it'll get the same feel though, because, they've made so many changes. It's hard to go back to do the old content at level.
It is, but one of the one of the things that I want, and I know a lot of people also want this, is to get the Herald of the Titans title, which you can only do at level. Like you can't go in at level 110 or whatever and do it. You have to be level 80, and you have to have a specific item level and whatnot. And I thought, maybe if people were interested, we could do something like that as a guild. But the counter to this was doing like possibly having a Time Walker raid, which I personally I don't think Blizzard is ever going to do this, because during the anniversary event, like I was going to mention earlier, they did that with Molten Core, and it was a 4 hour long. I can't even think of a word here to describe other than nightmare. Uh, for those of you who missed it or you weren't playing World of Warcraft then, you did the 4 hour, like it was literally 4 fucking hours, no joke. It's boring. But you run all the way through it. Of course, it's a 40-man raid. 40 people have to be in there. Um, like 4 or 5 tanks, and then everyone, it was set up like it was in vanilla. Well, vanilla in
Really?
Burning Crusade.
It took you
Um,
guys 4 hours?
except what?
It took you guys 4 hours?
Yeah, it's really long. It was really long to do it. The
I
problem is
mean, it took me 2 or 3 usually.
same time. I mean, it just depends on your group. Like mine would average maybe 2, 3 hours, like you did, but a lot of the times I would go, it was probably closer to 4.
Well, usually what we did is we went to the dog boss first. Because if we couldn't get past the dog boss, then it was just going to be an epic fail.
Pretty much. I mean, but it was. I mean, it's interesting to do it at level, but I actually did Molten Core at level 60. Now I did it during Burning Crusade. Um, Actually, no, I take it back. I was 70. I was 70. But did it closer to level appropriate, just like a lot of things back then, because you had to go fucking run them. You know, this is back when you had to have keys to open doors and all that shit. Um, but the problem with Molten Core was there was only one boss that you could loot, and it was of course Ragnaros, and he had um a an a, an enchant illusion for your weapon, called Flames of Ragnaros, and I believe there was a pet. And of course, everyone gets a mount for the first time you kill Ragnaros. But between that and like some armor, or I don't remember what the fuck you had, and like a little bit of gold, you had like 3, 4 hours time there with complete fucking strangers who don't want to pay attention and are of the mindset it's LFR, it doesn't matter. So it's just a goddamn nightmare scenario. And I feel like if Blizzard ever does a Time Walker raid, they're going to have to solve every problem that existed with the Molten Core one. And it was terrible. Like it was the most unfun thing, especially as a tank, because someone like me who's been playing a while might know mechanics and might be trying to explain everything, and then the response you get is shut the fuck up and your vote kicked.
I think some people just don't want to listen.
No, they don't at all, and it's annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I had fun doing it. I just laughed at people dying.
I'm not saying I didn't have fun. It's just that's a long time to be in a raid like that, like essentially an LFR content,
I
and
wouldn't
not get anything.
mind it. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I would like more loot, but other than that,
It just wound up being a hassle. I mean, you get an achievement, you get a mount, that's fine. I'm cool with that. But to be there that long, and again, no one now that would have been a perfect time to do some kind of personal loot reward. That would have been a perfect way to do that. Everyone gets something off of every boss, whether it's gold or a crafting mat or some super shitty piece of gear. That would have been cool. That would have been incentive enough for a lot of people to go. Or maybe you get some kind of transmog item, you know, that looks like an item that's been removed from the game. Whatever. Something along that line would have been interesting to see. But no, you had the 2 to 4 hour long run where you got loot off of one boss, and if you didn't get the item that you wanted, you had to run it again and again and again. And that's just not fun to me.
I mean, it was just like Molten Core.
Yeah, except with the real Molten Core, there was incentive to keep going. With this, it was kill all the shit here and get nothing, but keep killing it because eventually you're going to get something. It's just going to take you 4 hours to get something. Like it's worse than the real Molten Core because with real Molten Core, there's it, it's kind of um like a reward system almost. Like that's the point of doing a dungeon in a video game. You know, is you do all this and you eventually get some kind of thing that wants to make you keep going, and getting a weapon enchant and a pet and it taking 4 hours to get it and there being no incentive between start and finish, that's irritating. And I just don't want Blizzard to do something like that and it wind up that same way. I mean, with like, for example, with Time Walker Dungeons, they're wonderful. I've enjoyed them. They're great, but I don't know.
You're just whining.
I am. I'm just saying angry things for the purpose of saying them. Kind of like Donald Trump.
You would make a great Donald Trump.
I would make the best Donald Trump. I would be huge. I would be amazing. I would be the best Donald Trump.
I could see you doing that.
Wrong. I never said
Just
that.
you just
You're lying.
going off something randomly, and and then and then not or taking it back or deleting things immediately.
Okay. My current thing with President-elect Pussy Grabber, to steal a phrase from Keith Olbermann, who, by the way, I have not seen a single video from Mr. Olbermann in a while. Of course, we discussed, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. He was doing the Resistance for GQ. I haven't seen a single video in about 2 or 3 weeks now. But anyway, the president-elect has apparently attacked his own party now, because why the fuck not? Because um, the Office of Congressional Ethics uh, came up yesterday when it was supposed to be a holiday for Congress, so we're not going to be doing anything because the swearing in ceremony for newly elected representatives was going to be yesterday. Okay? So, what happens is they took a vote, but only the Republicans took a vote on this. So before anything else is going on, they voted on the Office of Congressional Ethics. Now, that was founded back in, I think, 2005, 2003, 2005, somewhere around there, in order to prevent
I
representatives,
think it was 2008.
somewhere early 2000s, just somewhere over 10 years ago, not more than 20, but actually not more than 15. Anyway, point being, it's founded to basically keep congressional representatives from becoming corrupt. In other words, if someone's accused of taking money from a corporation or a bank, the office, the OCE, will investigate it and look into it. It's resulted in 2 representatives being arrested for being corrupt. Okay. In other words, it's not really it's doing its job, but it's not doing its job. It's kind of iffy. It really depends on who you ask. Um, so the Republicans in Congress voted to completely, entirely gut it not not so much to do away with it, but basically fire all the employees and everything else. And the president
Because
elect said that
apparently
there are
2 was too many.
what's that?
Apparently 2 was too many.
Yes, two is entirely too goddamn many. But the president elect has decided that Congress needs to spend its time on other things than worrying about ethics.
I, it's one of the most interesting things because he didn't tell them not to do this in the future. He just said to do it later.
Yeah, focus on other things. Don't worry about ethics. Now, of course, because of the backlash from Der Fuhrer, the vote was rescinded. And the thing is, because when they had the swearing in, that means Congress, the House is fully established for that year. Um, I will say this though. I will say this though. Nancy Pelosi's welcoming speech to Paul Ryan was awesome, as was Paul Ryan's speech. Um, but
I,
I do
I,
want to say, I do want to say really quickly that Speaker Ryan challenged everyone listening to find one representative in there um, who actually wants the best for everyone around them.
I just want to say that I, they're one of the dumbest groups of people that has existed in America in all times, all the time. How do you? I, I mean, how do you get complete? You do is you or the ethics community. It's just the most hilariously arrogant and dumb thing I've ever heard of.
It's terrible. It really is to do that. But see,
I mean,
Congressman, hang on. Let me say this.
no, wait,
Okay, hang on.
I don't, wait, I'm not saying this as a Democrat or Republican. I'm just saying purely from a political perspective. This is literally the dumbest thing you could do.
It is. It is. It is the dumbest thing. But I'm listening to do something even dumber. Okay. You want to talk about ethics? You want to talk about corrupt politicians? Like I said, Speaker Ryan challenged everyone listening to find someone who is in Congress, who's in the House, who has the best interest of everyone around them. And he said that he says he guarantees you that you will not find someone who does not espouse the qualities. Yes, I can. I absolutely can. It's my congressman, Louis Gohmert. That fucking dumbass needs to be out of office. I'm sorry. I know people who know Mr. Gohmert. Of course, I actually worked for his opponent this past campaign. But you want to talk about someone who's corrupt and someone who does not need to be in office, needs to be kicked out at the office of Ethics Hatch needs to address, that would be him. So, Mr. Ryan, I have found your one person. I have found you one person. And I guarantee you, if I find one, I'm going to find another one. It's not that hard.
So what you're saying is unicorns are real.
What I'm saying is that unicorns are real and they have bred like rabbits and they all live in Washington, D.C.
I don't think they live in Washington D.C. They moved to Washington D.C. Most of these people aren't from Washington D.C.
But they all live there.
Well, no, technically they live in their states.
And God damn it. And no, they live there where all the special happy people live. And it's D.C.
Wait, there are special happy people here?
No,
I like
no,
your
no. I was being facetious.
you're, you're just you're on a crazy rampage today.
Yes, I am on a rampage today because we're talking about ethics and we're talking about things that are wrong, things that are so. You know what? Fuck it. It's time for me to say something angry, and we don't do this on the show, but trigger warning. Did I stun you into silence, Nick?
I was just waiting.
Oh, okay. Well, I figured you were going to say something about me saying trigger warning because I've said in the past that trigger warnings are bullshit.
No, no, no. I let you dig your own grave.
And I've also said in the past that a lot. Okay, a lot of what I'm about to say is not really my personal feelings in general, and and of course I've said this kind of stuff before. Um, there are certain topics I don't think are amusing, even if I will make jokes or I will laugh at jokes about them. And of course, that's led me to offend some people. So those of you who have been offended by what I've said, I'm sorry. Don't take it personally. I just say certain things sometimes. But anyway, um, the whole reason for the trigger warning here, which is kind of like a first for the show, is because I was talking to a friend of mine from Canada, and she was telling me about her New Year's Eve date. She had never met this person before, but she agreed to to go out with them. I thought that's fine, whatever. Um, Made me a little jealous, but that's fine. Anyway, they go to a bar, okay, and at midnight she kisses him. And Nick, do you want to take a guess what happens?
I really don't want to because I don't like where this is going.
I'm not going to give away her name. I'm not going to give away the province or anything, but she was sexually assaulted.
That's not fun.
It's the
Cool, cool.
16th time. 16th time. 16 times she's been sexually assaulted. She's been raped 3 times. This girl is 25 years old. Sexually assaulted 16 times and raped 3 times. So I asked her, I was like, hey, did you call the police? And she says, yes. And she talked to the police. I said, okay, what did the police have to say to you? Did they arrest him? She said, no. The police came and they talked to him and they said, there's nothing we can do about it. And I said, okay, why is this? And the image that's on screen right now is kind of giving away a little hint here, because I'm going to get to this in a minute. But according to Canadian law, a kiss, however meaningless it is intended, is considered consent. Think about that shit for a second. She kisses this guy in a customary New Year's Eve kiss, and he assaults her. And Canadian law says that's fine. Okay? Now, let me put this shit into perspective. There's a reason that that particular statistic was on screen just before that. Okay? 98% of cases are dismissed immediately without investigation by Canadian police. 98%. They walk in, they may ask you a couple of questions. They may say something like, did you kiss this person? Did you say okay? Did you say anything affirmative to the idea? And if you dare to say something like that, you're fucked. If you're the victim, you're fucked. And I'm not saying that as a pun intended thing. I'm saying literally, the police will just abandon you. Apparently, the same thing happens with domestic violence in Canada. If the wife says anything, actually, let's let let's take a step back here. If the wife is married to the husband, the wife, it's her fault. It's her fault. Now, I want to emphasize that when I met this young lady, she was actually living in a women's shelter for battered women because her husband was abusive towards her. Okay? Canada, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you, but I got some things I just want to go ahead and get, like get off my system here because it really pisses me off. It really, really does piss me off. And one of the reasons is that every 17 minutes, a woman in Canada is sexually assaulted. Now, that's not the highest rate in the world. It's actually higher in the United States. It's every 2 minutes here. But the thing is, the United States actually has a law, thanks to President Obama, that if you contact law enforcement after you have been sexually assaulted or raped, they have to investigate it. They have to. They have to take evidence by law. It's federal law. If you accuse someone of rape, they have to give you a rape examination, and the person gets arrested, and they have to go to jail. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. Another extension of this law is if you submit to a rape test. Okay, if you actually submit to it, the evidence that is collected has to be kept for 25 years. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be dismissed. It has to be resolved. Has to be. So you have a higher chance of being raped here, but you also have a higher chance of success. And that's important. That's really, really important. Going back to Canada for a minute, because Canada averages 460,000 sexual assaults every year. Out of every 1,000 incidents, 33 are reported, 12 result in charges, 6 go to trial, and only 3 lead to a conviction. That's why I said earlier the 98% thing. Okay, out of basically 100 incidents, you're probably only going to see 2 people actually face charges for this yet. 2 people out of 100 are going to be arrested, tried, and convicted, and have punishment. And here's the fun thing. Punishment for essentially raping someone in Canada can be anywhere from 6 months to, I think it's 3 years.
That is the saddest set of laws I've ever.
It's what?
I've ever heard.
It is sad. It's very sad. And keep in mind, this friend has had it happen 19 times total. 19 times. That's almost as like that's almost one form of sexual assault for every year she's been alive. That's goddamn terrifying. That scares even me. And here's the thing. I've known a lot of women from Canada. We've even had Canadian women as guests on our show before, Nick. And here's the fun part with this. And again, this is not serious fun. This is actually it is serious fun. It's not like enjoyable fun here. Nearly every Canadian woman at some point in time in her life, I think it's like 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3 or something like that, will be sexually assaulted in some form. Every Canadian woman. Every single one. Every woman in Canada you've ever met or will ever meet has probably had someone grope her in public, shove her against a wall and have their way with her, or abuse her and beat her. Every woman in Canada. That's goddamn terrifying. I mean, it's almost as if Canada is a third world country, or is a country ruled by Sharia law. And like when I found out this from my friend, like when she told me what had happened, I was pissed. I was insanely pissed off, and that's why I wanted to talk about it on the show today. Because I kind of feel like if we address this, someone who watches this episode will take this information, especially those of you who live in Canada. Please contact Representative, Prime Minister, whatever it is you can contact, and let them know, because this shit's wrong. But I started looking up some more statistics. Like it gets even worse than what I've already told all of y'all about this. Give me 1 second. Let me find this. Let's see. Okay. Under what is essentially called the old law, which is like the laws that have existed for a while now, there was no consent. There was no definition of consent or non-consent in the Canadian Criminal Code between 1892 and 1992. There was no definition of consent. In other words, a woman could not say no. It didn't know what it meant. Like it was like, oh, she said no. Oh, too bad, she's a woman. Fuck her. You know, uh, the courts define non-consent in terms of expected physical and verbal resistance. In other words, my friend who was on a date agreed to go out with this guy. She agreed to kiss him at midnight. So she clearly did not expect any danger from it. Therefore, there is no issue of non-consent. Under Canadian law, the victim is expected to clearly demonstrate the lack of consent. In other words, you have to actually prove that you said no. You have to it's the simplest thing, I guess, in the world, in the United States, to think, oh, well, maybe someone saw this, maybe it's on film, maybe it's not, whatever. And like it's literally your word against someone else. Now the problem with this is that non-consent has to actually be proven. If and when it goes to court, it actually has to be proven by the crown. Well, not the crown, but I mean, like that was what it was worded. But we're talking about the court, okay? Canada has to actually prove that you did or did not say no. It's not the victim. Now the victim has to prove it to the police. But if it goes to court, it's a big if, again, 98% of cases are dismissed immediately without question. If it goes to court, the court is the one that gets to decide whether you're telling the truth or not, which is I guess okay, because it's how it works here, but it's terrifying.
I feel like these laws were written in the 1800s and never updated, which is weird.
They actually were written then. Canada did not even use any definition of rape until 30 years ago. And no, let me rephrase that. They did use rape until 30 years ago. And then the word rape was written out of the laws. Rape is a very serious crime in Canada, and if you accuse someone of rape, well, it's treated that way. But there are specifications that have to be met for it to be considered rape. Okay. Other than that, it is called inappropriate sexual interaction or something like that. Some overly clinical term that entirely desensitizes what happens to the person. Okay. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up that you have these various stages of sexual assault. Like the highest one is of course rape, but it's very rare you actually see someone. Like if you sit down and look at statistics, it's very rare that you'll see anyone like any one individual's case have like a little tick, be represented by a tick mark when it gets to the rape. It's all bundled up somewhere else. And if you look at it by province, the places that have fewer, like that actually have a lower population, like the Yukon and Nunavut and places like that, they have a higher percentage of the more graphic ones. Like it's sexual assault level 3 or something like that, which is essentially spousal abuse, is what we call it in the United States. You've assaulted your partner, like domestic violence, basically. Out of 1,000 people, in certain places, it's between 2 and 600 reported incidences. And that's in smaller population areas. In higher population, it's not reported as much at all. And it's weird. It's really, really weird. Because they don't have, for some reason, they don't have a very high percentage. Well, it's not really weird, really, having spoken to a friend about this, but they don't actually have in Canada a very high reporting of this because nothing will be done. Nothing will be done at all.
The weirdest thing is it's Canada. You wouldn't expect this from Canada.
I'd actually go and find these stats. I'm sorry, because I need to correct myself. This is currently in Canada. Okay, anyone found guilty of rape or sexual assault is liable to a prison term between 18 months, but not over 10 years. 18 months to 10 years if you're found guilty, and that's again 3 people out of every 100,000 or whatever it was. I forget what I said earlier. Um, Aggravated assault is between 4 years to life. So you can have a lengthier prison sentence if you just aggravate if you just directly assault somebody, which is fucked up. A study revealed that half of Canadian women have been sexually assaulted at least once in their lifetime. The reporting rate for all this is only, and this is nationwide, 2.7%. And there was also a survey among victims at the University of Ottawa, and it was found through this study that the students did not report it because they felt that it was a personal matter. It was not serious enough, and it would and it lacked people were they didn't want to go to the police about it because they were afraid that the police might even want to address the issue with them. Might want to actually talk to them about it, and they didn't feel that they could tell the police what's going on because even they had no idea how to interpret the laws. Like even the victims has no idea how to interpret the laws. So apparently, the Canadian legal system not only hobbles women or anyone in general in terms of rape and sexual assault, but it blinds you as well. So you're put into a situation where you're in danger. You have to first prove to another stranger who's supposed to be there to help you that you're in danger, and they get to decide immediately, right then and there, how much danger you're in based off of what you tell them. So it's kind of like Judge Dredd is the perfect model for a Canadian police officer. You know, rather than the idealistic Mountie that we've all come to think is what policemen are in Canada. It's more like Judge Dredd. They decide right then and there whether you're a victim and whether the perpetrator is guilty, and 98% of the time it's not going to go anywhere. And that's
So it's
it
more
really
like a
bothers
Judge
me.
Dredd that doesn't do anything.
Do what?
It's more like a Judge Dredd that doesn't do anything.
Well, okay. The, the reason I said Judge Dredd is, now I haven't seen the rebooted version. I just remember the Sylvester Stallone one. Okay, and the number one phrase out of that everyone remembers is "I am the law." Okay, like that. That's what I'm thinking about. Like that terrible, terrible example. I realize that the reboot is actually closer to the comics, but I'm talking about the original one with Stallone. Okay, where it's like I am the law, and I'm essentially judge, jury, and executioner. Now, there's no executions, obviously, but you are judge and jury. Like the apparently the police are judge and jury for you, and they decide if you're a victim, if the perpetrator did it, and whether you get to go or not. And it's so terrifying to me to know that pretty much every woman I've ever known from Canada has gone through this, and some of them have gone through it more than once.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. Really sad. Mm.
So yeah, basically, if you're watching the show and you're from Canada or you know someone in Canada, you might want to, I don't know, write a letter to somebody, make a phone call, say, hey, maybe you might want to address this. because the United States actually got on board with that and fixed it under Obama. Now the problem is that even though this was almost instantaneously passed by both houses of Congress here, it still had to go to the president, and it's still essentially treated as an executive order by the president. And Nick, do you want to take one simple guess as to the problem with that having been an executive order?
Um, let's see. It's not like there's a new guy coming in that said he was going to
That's right.
reverse all that.
That's right. President-elect Pussy Grabber has said that he is going to overturn every executive order, which means that the law that we now have that says that anyone who accuses someone of sexual assault or rape has to be it has to be pursued by law enforcement, and you have to keep the evidence of for 25 years. That could possibly go away, so we could be set back, you know, which is even more terrifying, considering the fact that again, every 2 minutes in the United States, a woman is sexually assaulted. But here's here's I guess the fun part. I guess it's half of Canadian women, but it's like 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 in the United States. So I guess the payoff is that you have a higher percentage chance. Well, I mean, you have a more frequent chance of being raped or assaulted, but it's not likely to be. I don't know what to make of this. Statistics statistics give me a headache and they scare me sometimes. And I just I just wanted to to bitch about it because it's an important issue. Like it actually affects people that I know who live in Canada.
Don't be scared of statistics. They're here to help us.
Unlike law enforcement in Canada, apparently.
Or in much of the world.
Canada, you got problems, buddy. You might want to start addressing these problems because if you don't,
But we're saying we expect better from you. You're supposed to be the enlightened neighbor.
we're just looking out for Canada because Canada's like our little brother. Even though I know typically when someone says that, it's Canada who's being the older sibling, and Canada's watching out for us. No, we are watching out for Canada for a change.
How would Canada be the older sibling?
Canada's evidently the older sibling that just doesn't care.
No, I mean, how is it actually an older sibling? That doesn't make sense.
But how does it not make sense?
Because Canada is its own independent place wasn't formed until after America. So it doesn't make sense.
I don't know. It's just so many irritating things about Canada. Like other than the syrup fields and whatever else Canada's got going on. Now you have a terrible criminal justice system, and of course we talked about criminal justice reform in the United States, but apparently Canada really, really needs it more.
You cut off there.
I said we've talked about criminal justice here in the United States, but apparently Canada really, really needs it more.
Or we both do.
Probably. I don't know. I think what we could do is take all of the Canadians that are screwing things up and put them in our jails, and then all the people here who are uh, um, okay, best solution to this possible. Everyone here who has committed a non-violent crime, smoking marijuana, jaywalking, stuff like that, they get to go free. In fact, we'll let them go to Canada. Yes, that's a good idea. We'll trade our non-violent offenders with Canada, and then all of the rapists in Canada and all the sexual molesters and the child abusers and everything else in Canada can come live in our prisons because our prison system doesn't like people who do that. Our prison system doesn't take too kindly to people who are rapists or are spousal abusers. I think I don't know if y'all can hear me clapping over the talking, but I think that's probably the best solution. Because if anything is going to terrify the living shit out of a bad person, it's the American penal system. You see what I did there? I said penal. I made a terrible joke. I made a terrible joke. I'm sorry, but I had to make a joke at some point in time. I couldn't stand it.
You had a good idea there, and then you ruined it. You just you ruined the show.
I
You
know, I
completely
know. I
ruined it.
ruin everything, except I don't ruin things as badly as Canada does apparently, because Canada's. I'm sorry, Canada, but
No,
you're. But
no,
no, no, hang on, no,
you
hang on. Canada's legal system is just a fucking joke. I'm sorry. That's a joke.
we all got that, but you just ruined the show.
You'll
I'm
notice that
sad
I'm
now.
stammering more, and I don't know if I've ever actually said this on the show or not, but the more I get agitated, the more I start to stammer, and I've been doing it all show long. If y'all haven't noticed, and that's why I'm genuinely irritated about this shit because it's not right. It's an injustice, and it pisses me the fuck off. And then people are gonna be like, well, there's other things to worry about. What else is there to worry about other than your human beings? Like people that you know. It's not. Oh, I hate this year so far, Nick. I really hate it.
And you thought things were gonna get better.
2017 is supposed to be better.
Oh no, I expected to be far worse.
Well, on the plus side, um, another friend of mine posted like one of those little word find meme things, where here, tell me what the first three words that you see are. Um, it's got words like success and pizza and money and stuff like that in there, and it's talking about what you're supposed to get over 2017. But do you want to know the first three words that I saw, Nick?
What's that?
Dick, cock, and penis. That was the first three words I saw, and this is supposed to be what I'm going to get in 2017. That's
I,
oh,
I think I saw that one actually.
I don't know. I don't know. But apparently I'm gonna get fucked a lot in 2017.
I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. So yeah, you know what? It actually makes sense though. 2016 was the harbinger of our doom, and 2017 is our doom.
I I really don't get why people thought this year would be better. No, it's going to be far worse. far worse.
I'm gonna sing the Doom song now. Doom, 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 doomy, doomy.
That is a national classic.
Why aren't you singing the Doom song with me, Nick?
Because I'm sick and can't sing. But I'm
Doom,
thinking of
doom,
it while
doom,
you're singing.
doom, 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 doom.
Doom.
Anyway, I guess that's really it for today. Because I I have now gotten so angry and agitated that I need to go take something for a headache. I've got a headache now. Yay! I got a headache from doing the fucking show talking about something.
This seems normal.
It's not normal. I normally don't get them, but Canada, you suck. Fix your shit. United States, you got 16 days. Whatever is going on, I don't know. But while you're getting prepared, be sure and check out the Blizzard games, I guess, and get some Diablo stuff because oh shit, I forgot the most important Diablo thing, Nick. In Diablo
What's that?
3, like within Diablo 3, you might want to go get the game if you don't have it. Um, Now you don't, from my understanding, you do not have to have the expansion for it. You just have to have the original game. So if you like, and when I say the expansion, I'm talking about what's it called? What's it called?
Reaper Souls.
Yeah, Reaper Souls. Reaper Souls. If you don't have that, you might want to not worry about it because you probably didn't. But anyway, um, the original dungeon from Diablo, like the original game, has been recreated within Diablo 3. So you can go play it and have a fun time killing, like playing the original game. Now it's only going to be there for what is like 7 days, so you have a week to do all these fun things. But anyway, I guess that's it for today. Other than the goodbyes, Nick.
I should go do that. And yeah, it sounds like it's buy time.
So, please remember to like this video, comment on it, share it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook, please remember to like our Facebook page. Please visit our Patreon page. We are only asking for $1 donation. You know what? I fucking skipped this at the beginning of the show. Damn it! You didn't remind me. Anyway, message us on Twitter, and if you're on Twitch, subscribe to our channel on Twitch. Even though we still don't do anything on there, we have nothing planned. We're terrible people. It's all Nick's fault.
More like your fault. It's all your fault.
No, no, no. You know whose fault it is, Nick? You know whose fault it is?
Trump's?
It's Canada's fault.
Darn. That was my second guess.
Yep, it's all Canada's fault. Blame Canada.
Goodbye, everyone.
Yep, we'll talk to all of you, Friday. Bye, everybody.